Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be removing the rear seats in order to access the top strut bolts of the rear suspension on the Toyota Century. The first step is going to be to remove the bottom portion of the seats, and it's as simple as just pulling on them pretty hard and undoing all four clips. There are two on this seat and two on the other, and the whole middle, the middle section will come apart with the bottom seat.
Now, once you've got the seat pulled up, there are a couple of clips here, electricals you'll want to disconnect at the bottom here, and you'll also want to fish out the bottom portion of the seat belts here at the back. Alright, so it turns out I didn't need to unplug the seatbelt connector because the fabric here is only attached to the seatbelt socket. So no need for that. And I guess while I'm here, I'll be cleaning out the thousands of lighters that have accumulated through the years. I guess we had a pretty heavy smoker here.
So I ended up finding a bunch of business cards. I guess I saved about 1,100 yen on the cost of the car. Found an ID card, some shoe shine, a calculator, a bunch of lighters, and also I guess a bit of drugs and a couple needles, so I guess the person knew how to party, and a master's golf ball marker. But anyway, let's get back to removing the seats. Alright, so now that the bottom portion of the seats are out, the next step is trying to get the top portion of the seats. And to get to them, there are quite a bit of bolts that we need to access. So the first step is removing this panel, held in by two clips, to access, I think it's 2 or 4 bolts here. I'll be showing you when I get to them. And then raising up the both headrests on both sides in order to access the bolts that are behind here. There's a small flap. There's a small flap here. You can access the bolt behind. And there are also bolts on the bottom here that we're going to need to access. So as mentioned before, there are 4 bolts in the center section here, so 2 on each side. And I was having trouble accessing the bolts behind the flaps here. And turns out you actually need, so as you can see, there's no bolt visible here. But it turns out you actually need to pull the full seat forward. And then that gives you access to the bolt. So make sure you haven't unplugged the battery yet. We'll have to get to unplug the battery before we remove the side airbags. But at this point in time, good thing I didn't unplug the battery yet. At a certain point when you're attempting to remove the back seats, you're going to want to remove the seat belt from the seatbelt holder here. And as you can see, there's a small crack, and there's actually a tab underneath here. So you're going to want to insert your screwdriver and kind of pry it out like that. And that way you'll be able to pull the seatbelt out of the holder. now with all 4 top bolts and 2 nuts removed, there are 4 bolts at the bottom. So 2 here on this side, and then 1 there at the center, and another one under the left-hand side seat. All right, so it turns out there are so many electrical connections behind the seat that when pulling it out, I had to remove this cover here from the center portion in order to access about a dozen different plugs that I'll have to unplug. And when you get in the back here, you can see how intense the wiring is. So there was this simple plug that came from out of here. And then there's about a dozen different plugs that I'll have to undo from the center portion. Now, after a bit of a struggle with the connectors down here, which were the electrical connectors I was talking about. So you've got 3 at the front, 3 at the complete back, and then another 3 or 4 on top of them. After disconnecting those, it was just a matter of pulling out the seats through the door. Honestly, if you have a friend, I'd recommend having someone around. They are pretty heavy. But the next step is going to be to disconnect the battery and then remove the airbag modules on the door on both sides in order to attempt to access the top bolts of the rear suspension. So the first step to remove the airbags is to remove this lower trim. You're going to want to take a trim removal tool and insert it on this side and just pry it up. And once it's pried up, there's the first tab is right around here, and there are about 6 or 7 tabs all along the footwell. So just pry it up and pop it out. So to give you an idea, this is what the underside looks like. So 6 clips total, and then this ledge here, which was clipped into these. So just really had to pry it up, and I guess I'll take the opportunity to clean underneath here as well. Then to remove this top piece, you're just going to want to pull forward on it, and it'll just pop out like this. You can see there's a clip like this and an insert in the back. Then the next step after that is just to remove this weather stripping all along the side in order to access these 2 tabs here and pop out the lower portion. Then it's just a simple question of removing the 2 bolts that are holding the airbag in, as well as the plug for it. And everything from the door jamb is out of the way. And then repeat the same step on the other side, and then we'll move on to removing the upper headliner. All right, so it turns out you don't really need to remove the headliner like I thought. What you do need to remove, if you have it though, are the rear curtains. It's as simple as 1 clip here, and the same on the other side, 3 screws along the top, as well as the 2 bolts in the subwoofer hole and the ground, the bolt holding down the ground. So you pull that out, remove it out the way, and then 4 plastic clips are holding, I don't know how you call it, but this top thing in. And then you can just pull it forward. You need to unclip the connector for the rear, the third brake light. And then you can just pull this forward, and that gives you access to this top plastic, which we can pull back. There's a couple clips holding it in, and then we should have access to the top bolts of the rear suspension. And then once the two clips holding this top plastic in are out, you can just fold it back. And just like that, we have full access to the top of the rear struts on both sides, and we can get to removing the suspension. Now, if you found this video helpful, please consider dropping a like, or even potentially subscribing, as I'll be installing the airlift suspension you can see over there on both the front and rear of the Toyota Century. Thanks for watching.